guys, this is Anthony and welcome back to another BGA at the table review. Today we're going to be talking about Purrrlock Holmes. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Purrrlock Holmes, Furriarty's Trail. Yes, this is what we're talking about. I know it sounds silly. It is a new game by IDW Games. If you're at Origins, you might have seen it. And I actually wanted to do this review very specifically because it is not what it seems. I mean, it is what it seems, but it's better than it seems, if that makes any sense. All right, so I'm actually going to hop on over and we're going to run through the game real quick. I'm going to show you how it plays. The basic idea of the game, though, is that it's a deduction game in which you are trying to solve various investigations using clue cards, and it plays super quick, 2 to 5 players, scales well between 2 and 5. But let's take a look at the game so you can see what I'm talking about, and then we'll come back and I'll tell you what I think and whether or not you should pick it up. Hey guys, let's take a quick look at how to play Purrrlock Holmes. That's how you have to say it. You're not allowed to say it. Purrrlock or Sherlock. It's Purrrlock. Furriarty's Trail. All right, so the game is... I'll be the first to admit it. It looks silly. It looks cutesy. It looks like it's not going to be any good, but let me just show you how it plays, and you can make that decision based on gameplay, not necessarily looks and feel. Unless you love cats, in which case you're probably really excited right now. All right, that's me shuffling cards in the background, so no worries, no audio problems here. So the way the game starts is we're going to set up our trail of clues. There's going to be a certain number before Furriarty and then a certain number after. This varies depending on the number of players. I've only set it up for 2 players. The game scales perfectly because the interaction here is just confirmation. You're not actually playing against each other necessarily. There's a bit of a race element towards the end, but generally speaking, 2 players is perfectly fine. So what you do to start is you take one investigation or one clue card. You're going to put it in here facing away from you. You'll never look at it. So the way I just did it is horribly wrong, but it should look like this in front of you. So you can't see what it is. Because of the nature of the game, I have to show you what it is so that we can verify what we're doing here. You're also then going to take 2 cards, this is part of setup, 2 cards and do an investigate action. So an investigate action is you put these 2 cards out, you can see these, and you ask the other player or players, depending on how many they are, is either of these cards, are they the same character, animal? So do we have a goose or a crow? Do we have that number, the hour, or an hour that's adjacent to it? And you'll see here on the board here, 12 is adjacent to 1, so it goes around. So they need to tell you yes or no. That's it. They don't need to say 1 is, or this one is, or this one is. Just yes or no. The card is either a clue or it's a dead end. That is all the information we get right now. So let's cheat a little bit. We'll look at this, and I will tell you what we know. So we know that the crow is a dead end because it is a crow, and it is not a 1, 2, or 3. So it needs to be a rat, a 1, 2, or 3. And the goose is also not a rat or a 1, 2, or 3. So both of these cards are dead ends. Which at first you're thinking, well, that's not fair. I didn't learn anything from that. But you did learn something. You learned it's not a goose, you learned it's not a crow, and you learned it's not a 1, 2, 3, or a 10, 11, 12. I'm sorry, it's not a 3, 4, 5, or a 10, 11, 12. So we know it has to be a 1, a 2, or a 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have narrowed it down decently. 1 of 3 animals and 1 of 6 numbers. All right. So then, again, we're not looking at that. We don't know that information, right? So then it goes around to the next player. The next player does the exact same thing. And this is all part of startup, right? And then once it's your turn, you're going to have 4 cards. Let's assume we're the first player. You're going to take your cards, look at them, and decide, based on what information you do have, which of them you want to play. So this is perfect, actually, because these are the 3 different animals that we know it could be, right? So let's get rid of the ones where we know that it can't be that number, right? So we know it can't be 10 or 11 or 12. So 10 and 11, these guys, those are bad clues for us. These 2, however, are good clues because we don't know any of this information. So we play these 2 clues out. These 2, we'll say for a minute. We play these two out, and we ask, is it a dog or a rat or a 7, 8, 9, 10? And so the answer is, once again, I'll remind you what card we have. It is a rat. We don't know that, but that's what they're telling us. And it is not a dog or an 8, 9, 10. So now we know that it has to be a rat or a toad. Well, we know it's a rat now, actually, because it's not 8, 9, 10, but it is a rat. So we know it's a rat, and we know the number has to be a 1, a 2, or a 6, 7. That's it. 1, 2, 6, 7, rat. So once we know one piece of information, so we know for sure it's a rat, we can do a guess. So we can decide, I want to guess that it's a rat. And we know it's a rat, so if we did that, we would get 1 clue token. And that's our points. And these at the end of the game are worth points. They have points printed on the other side. That's automatic. But you can also guess the hour. So if you know both things, you could guess it's a rat 2. And then you would get 2, because you got both of them right. Right? But if you're wrong about either of those, if I said rat 5 or rat 6, because it could be a 6, right? And all the other player is going to say is, nope, it is not rat 6. You get nothing, even though you got one of them right, because you don't know that you got one of them right. So it's one of those things where you have to be careful, and you have to decide, okay, do I want to just guess because I know one, or do I want to, wait another turn and hopefully get it right? Most of the time it makes sense, especially when you have this many clues out, just to guess the one. But sometimes, you want to go big, especially if the other player isn't close either. It really depends. Also, you can get lucky sometimes. You can just guess. We have it narrowed down to one of 4 numbers. Pick one, right? Especially towards the end of the game where you kind of have to do that. All right, so then you do that. So let's say we guessed 1. We get our 1 token. This investigation is done. So we put away all these cards. They're all gone now. We draw a new investigation card. Put it out, or new clue card, put it out. We do this again. This is seeding the investigation. So this is always going to happen every time you get a new investigation. And once again, we're going to cheat because we don't have another player here to help us. And they will tell us that, yes, it is this. This is a lead. It matches something. And this one is not. So that's actually pretty good. We start with a little bit more information. So we know, now we're able to narrow it down, and we know it's either a toad or a 5, 6, 7. So it's one of 4 things, which is great. It narrows it down quite a bit. And we know it's not a crow or a 7, 8, 9. So we actually know that it is a toad or a 5, 6. Pretty good, right? At the end of your turn, you take the 2 cards you didn't pick and you pass them to the next player. And then you draw 2 more cards so that you always have 4. There's one exception to that. If you guess wrong on your turn, then you're not actually going to get to draw. And so then you only get those 2 cards that they pass to you the next time around. So that's not great. Another thing to know is every time it comes all the way around the table, this is going to remind you. It's going to sit between the 2 players like that. Every time it comes around the table, Furriarty is going to move up 1. So you really only have this many rounds to guess it. If he gets to the end before all of these are gone, then everybody loses. Nobody wins. So that's no fun. If somebody guesses and this is the one that's in the front, then they get this token. It's worth 3 points. They're probably going to win the game because the game ends immediately when this is taken, and it's worth 3 points. Some of these are worth 3 though, not all of them. These are randomized. There's more in the box. So there are multiple options here. You see there's a lot of 1s, a decent number 2s, and then a couple 3s. So pretty good. All right, that's it. That's how the game plays. It takes about 20 minutes, and it scales pretty well from 2 to 5 players. And it's a great experience. I mean, it's one of those things that you look at the artwork initially and you think, huh, that looks silly, but it's actually pretty cute and it's fun. So that is Purrrlock Holmes. All right, let's step on back and I'll tell you guys what I think and whether or not you should pick it up. All right, guys, welcome back. Purrrlock Holmes. So now that we've looked at the game, we know how it plays. How does it hold up? Is it the kind of game you play a lot? Is it fun? You saw what happened, but it's really hard to show the actual gameplay of a game like this, especially a deduction game, in a one-person video. So this is important. Purrrlock Holmes, I thought it was ridiculous. I saw it at Origins, I avoided demoing it, and when it showed up in the mail, I put off playing it for a little while. I'm being honest here. I'm being totally honest. I'm a big heavy Euro gamer. I'm not a huge party game guy. I'm not even really a big deduction game guy most of the time. But this game is actually pretty cool. It's surprising in a lot of ways. And I don't know if the theme will help or hurt it. I guess it depends on where it's sold, because it's cutesy, it's fuzzy, the first player is the one who has the most cats. I mean, I don't even like cats. But all of that aside, let's just run down what you have here. You have a quick, very simple deduction game. You're trying to figure out two pieces of information, and you do it through a process of elimination. Everybody's going to be able to solve clues, and that's what's so important here. It's not hard to finish an investigation, to solve a card and move on. If you're super aggressive and impatient, it can get a little hard because you might get a few wrong. But if you wait long enough to understand it, it really should only take 2 or 3 turns to solve any given card. That's great. Kids can play it. They're going to love it. Like 8 and up, I think. The other side of it is, if you're playing with real gamers, like real gamers, but more intense gamers who play a lot week to week, the theme is there, but you kind of forget about it pretty quickly. I mean, when you say, I'm on Furriarty's tail, people are like, oh, okay, I get it. But the idea here is very simple. I mean, you have the cards, you have the numbers, and you have the 5 different types of animals. What is it? And then it becomes a race, and there's a little bit of press your luck in there. Like, am I going to guess both of these informations when I only have one of them? Maybe you get it down to a 50-50 shot that you get those 2 clues and you can win the game, or you get none of the clues and you lose the game. That's super cool. And the fact that the game only takes 20 minutes, that makes it even better, because nobody's really going to feel left out. I played this game a few times now. Nobody's really had a bad time with it. Often in a deduction game, there's at least one person who just feels, I don't want to say dumb, because nobody's dumb necessarily, but like, you've been there, I've been there, where you're sitting there and you're like, I can't get any of these. Either I didn't have my coffee today, or I'm tired, or this game just is not clicking. That doesn't happen with this. It manages to be accessible, entry level, and just plain fun, Do I have any problems with the game? I mean, it is a little on the simple side, so it's not going to be, a go-to deduction game. If you're playing with, all adults, and you generally play a lot of, hobby games, then people tend to like a little more interaction as well. So a game like, Deception in Hong Kong, or any of the Resistance games, we're actually trying to deduce information about each other, and you might be lying. This game, the only real interaction is, hey guys, is this a lead or is it a dead end? And then anybody can answer that question. It doesn't really matter. And of course, also, if you accidentally knock somebody's piece over, a little bit of interaction there, because then you yell at each other. But the game is actually, you're basically playing solitaire deduction here. So that's probably the one major downside here, is that there's no major interaction. There's a race element, of course. You want to be the first one to complete your deductions so that you can pull the pieces from the trail. So there's not no interaction, but you are going to be kind of doing your own thing, and then other people are just going to facilitate the other side of it. This game could easily be played with an app, I think. But all of that said, it's quick, it's fun, it's kid-friendly, it's super cutesy. There's nobody's going to step up to the table. It's not like Deception in Hong Kong, where some people step up to the table and like, ooh, a game about murder. Yay. It's Sherlock Holmes, and we're not even talking about specific cases or who did what where. It's just, who are we trying to find? And here's the information to do it. So thematically, it's interesting. I don't know that it would need to be Sherlock Holmes any more than it needs to be cats, but the fact that they did that makes it kind of fun and cutesy and accessible. I give this one a play. I think it's one worth picking up if you have small children who like this type of game, or if you have a game group in which people are generally turned off by those more adult themes, or if you're just looking for a deduction filler game, because this is perfect for that. A lot of those other deduction filler games can go a bit long. This one will never go that long because it cannot. Either you catch Furriarty or he gets away. The game is only ever 6 rounds long. So it's fun, it's quick, it's accessible, it's pretty inexpensive, and I'm pretty sure it's out now. So check out Purrrlock Holmes, Furriarty's Tale. It's not a game you would expect to like. It's not one I expected to like, but it's a pretty solid play in my opinion. All right, guys, that's everything for this episode of BGA's At the Table Reviews. Make sure you subscribe if you have not yet. Please make sure you leave a comment below if you have any questions or just want to clarify anything about the rules. And of course, if you could like this video and share it with other people, we'd love that as well, because we're trying to get this YouTube channel up and we really appreciate when you guys let us know what you think. All right, so that's everything for today. Until next time, talk to you then. Bye.